Welcome to the Recruiting Masters podcast, brought to you by the CFC Insider. We're Katie and Clint, and you're listening to a new segment of Utley's Top Prospects, the number one place for all your football recruiting and prospect news across Canada. If you're listening to the show for the very first time, welcome. We're glad you're with us. Be sure to follow us on our Facebook, Twitter @ChatFootball, Instagram CFC_football, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as sign up for your exclusive gold membership today to learn more about all the prospects that we are going to talk about. So, Clint, this is a new series for the Recruiting Masters podcast. I know we do the Utley's Top Prospect as an article series on CanadaFootballChat.com, but we're going to do a podcast now. We would have been getting ready to release the CFC100 2023 ranking in March. However, that is being pushed back due to obvious reasons. COVID, nobody has no film. However, we still have kids that we have identified that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good kids too. It's a shame that we can't. We could put out a list because there is just like the high-end kids generally. If they're not sticking out in grade 9, they're probably... We have enough, but to put it out without the film, like you said in the follow-up, wouldn't do it the justice it deserves, but we've identified a number of kids in the class of 2023, and we'll take a look at, I think, 16 of them today. 4 of them today, and then 16 over the next month. So off to the young new ones who I'm sure all the prep schools will come up and steal and then say they found them somewhere in the Great North.
Jokes. Don't tweet us, people. Let's get right at it. So our first prospect is Nik Shewchuk. He's a receiver, 5'10", 165. Remember, these kids are 2023 or 2024, depending on how they're classifying. So they're youngsters. So, but this one's from Alberta, Sherwood Park. It goes to Salisbury, a CFC50 team. He works extremely well in the slot. What did you think of him?
I thought he was like super quick and explosive. He did the Alberta Golden Bears, was it Select Camp?
I think something like that.
Whatever that Coach Morris ran this offseason. Anyway, so he was going against pretty good players, and there's a couple times where he caught a ball in a slot.
And he can make people miss in space.
And he's fast. He's quick is what got me, like super quick. And you're right, he can make people miss in space. And there was a couple plays where once he actually got into space, nobody caught him from behind. So he reminded me of that inside slot who can run really good routes and is super quick. That's what I kind of, when I watched his film. And he was one of the fortunate ones who had film from last spring. Yeah, Nik Shewchuk was, he's a legitimate prospect for sure. And his birthday is in 2005. So he is a young buck.
So just to clarify, all these prospects we're talking about today, we're not saying have made the CFC100 2023 ranking. We just have them on our radar. So let's just clear that up right now. Our next prospect is exciting, actually. Dallas Sims, another receiver. He is 6'3", 190. He's out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, 2023 kid again from Dakota Collegiate. I believe he's taken his talents down south. But he is another game breaker, and he just got his first NCAA offer from Iowa State. Yeah, I was going to say, I saw it on his Twitter. What do you think about Dallas? I know you've been talking about him for a while.
Brad Black in Winnipeg mentioned his name like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then we started following him, or trying to follow him. I realized his body type is a little bit different. However, he did play in the backfield, which most of these young players do because they just want to get them the ball as much as possible if their frame will allow for it. Dallas Sims was like, he's the closest thing I've seen to Chuba Hubbard. Even though their body type is different, I get it. But like, he's the closest thing I've seen to Chuba Hubbard in the open field when he has the ball in his hands. I'm not saying he's a running back. He's probably most likely a receiver because of his frame, or that's where he's going down to play anyways. But I'm talking about explosive playmaker.
And he's so long. Like his length is, he would be a real great potential mismatch guy, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's 6'3", right? He's 6'3" already. And he's kind of got some of that stuff that you just naturally have.
Yeah.
To go along with the size and the length and the height and all that stuff, even the weight. Like, he's got all that stuff. He is a very blessed young man. Let's just put it that way. Hopefully he goes down and does awesome things and he kind of adds a couple more offers. I wouldn't be surprised if he's right up there when he comes out to be just as high a profile as Aju was by the time he had finished off his high school career.
Yeah.
Maybe even bigger. Who knows? We'll see where he goes and we'll see which quarterback's throwing them the ball.
The next kid, I'm going to butcher the name, so I apologize, Sebastien. It's Sebastien Acheampong. How would you say it?
Where's our young guy when we need him?
I know, where's Quincy when you need him?
I've seen that name for years in the Toronto area.
Acheampong.
It's probably wrong. You're wrong.
Acheampong?
Well, I'm just going to say that he comes from a family of athletes, or he has a couple of cousins or something, because I've seen that name a bunch of times.
Yeah. Anyways, we're sorry, Sebastien. He's a defensive tackle, 6'2", 280 pounds. He's from Burlington, Ontario. He's playing at Clarkson. He's labeled as a defensive tackle, but it looks like he's made the move to the O-line.
That kind of happens quite a bit over at Football North. So Clarkson, they practiced all spring, and some of their kids got some really good film from that, and he's one of them. There wasn't a ton of film and/or clips, but he did a couple things where you were just like, oh my goodness, look how athletic he is. You could tell he was a converted defensive tackle. So
he's intriguing.
Oh, totally intriguing. The only thing that kind of knocks you back a little bit is if he does make the full-time transition to offensive line. Hopefully he's no longer 6'2". Hopefully he's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
Because for all of us in the normal world, 6'2" is 6'2". That's pretty tall. For all those other coaches who seem to think that they all belong in a cookie cutter, or that you have to be 6'4" to be the world's greatest offensive lineman, not defensive lineman, offensive lineman. So hopefully he continues to grow. But yeah, the couple initial shots we saw his high school highlight, and we're like, whoa. And then we saw him on the offensive side of the ball. At first I was watching it and I was like, I saw the defensive tackle get pancaked. And I was like, whoa, what is it? And I thought he was that, because he's labeled as a defensive tackle. I was like, what is he doing? And then I was like, I looked at the other defensive tackle, and he also got his butt handed to him. And then it dawned on me that, the kid's he played a little bit of guard, and he pulled and trapped a few times, and you're like, wow, look at him go down the line. With regards to just the way he moved as he worked to kind of secure his block, and it was down, and it was around, and it was a couple of really nice things. And then I think, if I remember correctly, he had very few clips, but he showed a couple of clips of him pass setting. I don't know if it was as a tackle, but he looked really good in that manner too. So I just hope he's 6'4", and if he's not 6'4", somebody put him in a stretching machine and make him 6'4".
Or why not just let him play and show him what he's got at 6'2"? Really?
Well, if you're not, there's a big difference between 6'2" and 6'4". You're a former kinesiologist and strength coach, Kate. You know these things.
Just like 5'10" and 6'1", eh?
So there you go. Well, remember the argument last year when, was it Joe Burrows or Tua? I can't remember. When they were like, his hand's too small.
Oh, right.
And you're just like, he just threw for 5,000 yards at 60 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What do you mean his hand's too small?
Our last prospect is Kervins Paul. He's a running back, 5'8", 180. Is out of Montreal, Quebec. Played at College Notre Dame.
He was one of the best running backs. He's still in high school in Quebec. I really liked him. His film was awesome, and you could tell he pays attention to details.
And he's filled out over the calendar year.
5'8", 180 is no laughing matter,
yeah.
Especially if they're powerful and they kind of have some speed, which he does. He made a couple of plays. You don't see it very often, but he ran a corner route out of the backfield. Now, he was in gun to that side, but he still ran a corner route for those of you who are football fans. Not very often do you ask the running back to run a corner route, and he caught the ball and took it into the end zone. And then he had a couple of other impressive runs where there's a couple where he just made some people miss. He's got super happy feet. So that was impressive.
Yeah, he's a smooth runner.
I thought everything he did was smooth, personally. And you were kind of like, oh man, look at that. Because he was super skinny the year before, and you're like, is he going to fill out or what?
Yeah.
And then last year it looked like he started to fill out, because he actually was another one of the kids who got his spring film up. Whatever limited amount of film he had. So yeah, I was super impressed with that. Not shocking though that there's really good running backs at College Notre Dame in Montreal. I know we've said it before in old ones that they kind of had a bit of a dry run there after years and years of dominance, but I think they're kind of back there now, and it's probably because of athletes like that. And we got to look up, remember we were like, there's that young quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Who was chucking the ball around. It's not the tall kid from Notre Dame the year before who went down to a prep school. It's another young kid. I can't remember his name. I know he might be one of the kids who's going to get considered for I'll leave it up to the other guys to explain the list that's coming out with regards to the Quebec kids, but he's been identified for one of those lists. Because I saw him, I think he's a Quebec kid.
Check him out. Their player profile is up on CanadaFootballChat.com. That's a new feature, a few months new. So if you haven't put your profile in yet, go on to CFC and click on the prospect search or the submit your profile, and you can put all of that information in, and it just creates a huge database, and it's free. So that's it for us today. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Recruiting Masters Utley's Top Prospects. Be sure to follow us, like I said, on all our social media platforms. Don't wait to get your CFC Gold membership today to get access to the rankings, the analysis, and the daily football recruiting news across Canada.
Looking for more exclusive Canadian recruiting content? Become a CFC Insider Gold or Silver member today for access to rankings, analysis, and the latest recruiting news from across the country.